Whatever, y'all. Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, seems that Tencent has clapped back at Sony for a little bit of context. Sony's suing Tencent for whatever that game is called that bites off of Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, it looks basically like the same game. Similarly, I think this new game though looks like it could do some stuff better. I don't know. Who knows? It's got the gorilla. I was like, that's cool, a gorilla. But what they said in response to their lawsuit was very, very good, very important because it represents a part of what's happening in the industry right now because of Nintendo and Sony. It's funny how Sony and Nintendo, two giant Japanese video game companies, are doing the same thing. They're very litigious, going out there suing this, suing that, instead of just making games, making good games, making the best games so that everybody can say, yeah, they're the best because they make the best games, instead of being afraid of competition and suing them so that you don't have competition. That's Sony's MO, by the way. But anyway, Tencent, paraphrasing, of course, said that they are trying to create a monopolistic environment where they don't have competition, basically. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Hold on. Let me do some magic. Bam! It's right there, I think. And so what they said, what they said, saying that, instead of, trying to be creative and trying to, just be a better video game maker, they're just going to try to sue and stifle competition, basically. And it's the same thing that Nintendo's doing. Nintendo's doing it in a different way. They're doing it preemptively. They're getting all these patents so that people will be scared to do the things that they do. But I think what will possibly happen with Nintendo eventually is that somebody's going to come up with a game, probably a bigger company is going to come up with a game like, yeah, we want to put it like a little indie game. It's kind of like Pokemon, blah, 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 right? And then Nintendo's going to be like, you can't do that. And then they're going to be like, yeah, we can. We got money, so we're gonna take you to court. And their patents are going to be turned over, be null and void or whatever, because the things they patented pre-existed. So they're patenting things because of Pocket Pair, because of Power World, not because, oh, we made something cool, we don't want anybody to bite or whatever. That's not what's happening. And the thing is, it's different from like the Nemesis system, because they did the Nemesis system. That was unique. I don't think anybody's ever done that before, to the extent that they did it. And so they patented it. So I was like, all right, I mean, it sucks that they did it, but I don't see any, as far as like them going against another corporation or anything. They, it was theirs. They came up with it. All right, fine. That's cool. But in the grand scheme of things, it still stifles creativity in the industry. But everybody says this, and it's true to an extent, that when the limits are put on the devs, they become extra creative. They put on the super creative talent, and they figure out how to either work around those limitations or make something that's better, that makes those older patents like nobody cares. Who cares? It's like, what it's like? It's like they who did it? Was it Namco, I think. Someone did a patent for having the ability to play like little mini games during loading screens. So like, say if you're playing, I don't know, some crazy game, Dark Souls or whatever, some game, right? And there's a long loading screen, Skyrim, and then you can play Pac-Man during the thing. I don't think they ever used it. It was kind of a good idea when loading screens were horrible and stuff. But now technology is advanced. Loading screens aren't really a big deal anymore. So there you go. That patent's patent's worthless. But I got birds on my roof now. got him off. That's how you do it. So like this, it just seems so petty, and it's so anti competitive, basically, because like I said, they're trying to stifle competition. If they had a true and just like kind of patent, if that makes sense, then I wouldn't really have a problem with it. But they're doing it after the fact that the patents already exist. Like World of Warcraft, all these games for decades have done what these patents suggest or describe. And so I'm like, how? And I'm looking. Honestly, it's the fault of the patent office, because they allowed it. Because they're a bunch of old people who don't play video games. So they, as I understand it, they looked at the current patents, which is kind of hard to do when there's 12 million. I think there's 12 million, 12.5 or whatever. It's probably in a database. They could probably search or something, but they probably didn't do their due diligence. And like I said, they don't play games, so they didn't realize what they were doing. So the only thing that we can do as a community, as a industry, is to keep yelling about it, or there needs to be a dev to come up and, fight the patent, basically. And that'll happen one day. And I don't think that, I mean, like I said, it needs to be like Microsoft should come back, because World of Warcraft they had the Nintendo patent mounts. Like you get on a mount and you fly, and then you get down on the ground and then you ride it. And I'm like, yeah, that's a mount. That's like World of Warcraft. That happened a long time ago. So Microsoft should be like, yeah, we don't see you in court, because no. But anyway, it's like I'm looking at Nintendo, I'm looking at Sony, and I'm like, y'all listen. And Tencent said the right stuff. They said, yo, they're just trying to create this monopoly. They don't want to have competition, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's what it is. They're so threatened by these little indie devs that are making better games than them. Well, get good, get better. You've been in the video game industry for how long, and you still struggling to make good games or maintain a good game? It's like if you look at certain creatives, certain people who make games, they make good games. They've always made good games. They never make a bad game. For example, who is one? I'll say Vince Zampella. I'm gonna say Vince Zampella. I don't think he's made a bad game, and I say him because he's been the director of said games. Not like, oh, was it the studio? Was his art director? Is the same art director? I don't know. I mean, he's been a part of different studios and, shuffling around people within the studio. So the guarantee that the same art director and the same level designer and all these things are there, that isn't a guarantee. But one common factor is Vince Zampella. And so he's making a new Battlefield. I think Battlefield 6 is going to be nice, because I have faith in him. Even though the last Star Wars game he put out was kind of rough when it came out, performance-wise. But, they straightened it out, and it's all good. And it's a good game. Titanfall 2, probably the best first-person shooter, I'm going to say, to date. I don't think that is the best. Oh, it's such a shame that kind of flopped because of, like, politics and scheduling and all these things. And I'm like, Microsoft should have bought Respawn. Microsoft should have been like, yo, get Respawn, get them on board, let Titanfall be an Xbox game for real. Because Titanfall is a wasted opportunity. Titanfall should be on Titanfall 4 right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you think about the technology that exists now with Titanfall. Come on, son. And so I'll be like, next gen, just look, hook up with EA, hook up with Respawn, be like, yo, come on, Titanfall, let's go. And it could be multi-plat, I don't care, but just make the game. I want the game. But anyway, sorry for the tangent, but it's like, these companies and these corps, they're really pushing buttons, and they're really They're really doing things that are antithetical to the health of the industry. And I mean, it may bite them in the ass eventually. And like I said last video, the worry for me is not in the overall health of the industry. It's the AAA space. And so we're going to see less of them. Well, from Sony, obviously, because they ain't got no games. They ain't got no studios to make no games. And all their studios are backed up from COVID, and live service, that live service BS that they tried. And there's no guarantee that the games that they are going to put out are going to be any good. You can say, oh, Naughty Dog has never missed. It's like, I mean, Last of Us Part 2, well, there's some merits to it. And overall, I mean, you could just tell by the quality of the show itself has kind of gone down. People are not feeling that because of certain things. Well, I think they messed up the Ellie character, honestly. And that's on the showrunner. I don't think that's on Neil Druckmann. I think that's on the showrunner. I'll give Neil his flowers in this respect. So here's what I say as far as the Neil Druckmann thing and the Intergalactic. If Intergalactic is hot trash garbage, then Neil Druckmann can kick rocks. But if he comes back and he redeems himself and he puts out some goodness, I'm like, all right, that's cool. But I don't know if I have that much faith in Neil. Because he's been a little sus with his commentary and his reasoning and blah, blah, blah. But whatever. That's just whatever. That's him. If he wants to, do his political aspirations through video games, that's on him. He has every right to do that. Doesn't mean he's going to sell more. It's actually probably sell less, because we do not come to video games for political commentary. Just want to let you know, Neil. We want to just escape into fantasy land, and just because the world is bullshit enough. So when you introduce more bullshit into the fake video game world, it's like, okay, if I wanted to be stressed out, I'd just go outside. I'd wake up and do my regular day. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know if guys like him really understand that. They're just, they have their outlets, and that's their artistic outlet, and so they do it. But that's all good. Anyway, sorry for the tangent again. Back to the main thing, and that is Sony and Nintendo. They both get pushed into the same category as far as what they're doing to the industry right now. Like I said before, I'll say it again. I'll say it every time. Concord is the worst failure in the history of video games. Sony made it happen. Thank you, Sony. Thank you, Sony, for illuminating us to the horrors and to the trash of Concord. And someone said, like I said, remember I said this a couple videos ago. I said the worst thing that could happen to a Sony game or Sony property or identity was to have it be used in a negative connotation, which is Concord. You don't want to Concord this, or you don't want this to be another Concord. You don't want this to be Concord 2. That happened. I forgot. I think it was Luke Stevens. Somebody said something about a game that Sony was putting out. I think it might have been Marathon, and they referred to it as Marathon Concord. I forgot what they did. I laughed. I laughed out loud. I lolled, and I said, okay. And I knew it was going to happen because I was doing it already. And people, it's just part of the nomenclature now. It's like, yo, nobody wants another Concord. Definitely not Sony. And so that happened. And that's their legacy. That's Jim Ryan's legacy, at least. And I would say a little bit. No, actually, it's Herman Holtz's legacy, because he was, Concord is new Star Wars and all that stuff. I got a giant red ant in my car now. Gosh darn it. There's another one. Oh my gosh, they're all over the place. Anyway, I guess we gotta go because the ants are gonna eat me. I appreciate you, man. Like and subscribe. Hit it over the comments below. Let me know what you think about Tencent smacking PlayStation and Sony through the internet recently because of they shouted them out for real, and I appreciate that. I like it when corporations aren't scared. And I think last thing, I think that Sega had something to do with it. Because when they put that commercial out, that's what. Nah, so I'm just kidding. The commercials were real good. But anyway, I appreciate. I'll talk to y'all next one too. The way.